Hey, how's it going? I'm Tom Seymour with VHS Masker Radio. Just doing another update. Some really cool things happened. As I said before, we had the screening at Anthology Film Archives, and it went really well. Actually, got to sign autographs for first time that I can remember, which was pretty awesome. Because Tom D'Amico brought some copies of the original VHS Masker, and so that was a great time. But I wanted to talk about two different things. One of the things is like having a premiere. Sometimes you're thinking like, should I do this? Like should I try to get into a screening and put on an event and then invite people? And there was definitely a reluctance to do this time around because the VHS Massacre 2, my newest film, is a sequel to another documentary, and you just really wonder how many people saw the first one. Are they going to want to see the second one? But I submitted to new filmmakers and got a screening date, and it was on a Wednesday night, which is a difficult time slot. But people showed up, so it was pretty awesome. Um, the interesting thing about screenings and events, having live events, is those events generate press far beyond what the actual event brings in. So I wanted to bring up, if we look up, um, so Dread Central basically publicized the fact that we had a screening coming up. So all of a sudden, we get Dread Central, which they're heavily traveled. I mean, 10,000 people could have seen this, and then the Horror Society, Horror Society also covered the fact that we're having a screening at Anthology Film Archives. Now, given this is essentially a press release, I mean they obviously wrote what they wanted to write about it, but typically. If you're going to have an event, you generate a press release. I did not create this press release. It was based upon some of the summaries I wrote for the films and bios and whatnot. But so because I sold the film to Troma did a press release, and upon knowing that the movie was going to screen in anthology, they sent it around, and people online actually responded. So it's an odd thing, right? Where whatever you get showing up to anthology, let's say you get 50 or 100 people showing up, like that's awesome. But you could get another 10,000 worth of viewership based upon the event itself, and then people know, oh, it played in New York, and let me watch this. So it's very interesting. It's sort of the nature of the times in social media, where a lot can be generated from putting on a event and then trying to send press releases to appropriate venues that might match the event that you're doing. And so that also brings me back to film festivals. Some very awesome news I found out today. I was very excited. So I went to, I showed you in the past. I showed you a list. I entered like about 30 different film festivals and contests, and one of them was the Independent Horror Movie Awards. And the thing is, when I was looking on the submission site, it looked right up my alley, and like on Film Freeway, the actual description of that festival, they kind of delve into the fact that some of the classics of horror, the stuff that people liked in the 80s and 90s, is still the stuff that people love. So they mentioned Evil Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from the 70s, and a lot of the classics, the original Halloween and stuff like that. So if you think of it, if you're in, and that's what VHS Massacre 2 concentrates on, movies that have really pushed the envelope, and those exploitation films that were considered taboo at the time. So just take a sip of my coffee. It's not that gigantic today, but so in regard to searching for film festivals, it's really helpful to pick a festival that's going to align with the film that you're submitting, right? So if it's VHS Massacre 2, it's, it may not play at some New York Arts Film Festival, right? So it's probably not going to work. But the Independent Horror Movie Awards seems really seems like it works. And then the Independent Horror Movie Awards is one of the awesome things. It's a competition that runs year round. So there's more than one per year. They're like seasonal, right? So you'd have a winter one and a summer one, things like that. So it's excellent. So you might have more opportunity to possibly win, depending. And so if you go on I went on the Independent Horror Movie Awards website today, and sometimes I'm just really blind to very obvious things. I must have stared at this thing for a few minutes, just looking at some of the nominations, before I even realized that the VHS Massacre 2 poster is right on the main page. And I guess I saw the winter 2019, and I got confused because I'm like, oh, it's January, it's 2020. So I assumed that these were old, and I was looking at old nominations, so that's why I scrolled down. But then I looked, and it's pretty phenomenal. Some of these films are awesome films, and I think, where was it? Best editing, I got a Best Editing Award for VHS Massacre 2, which is, traditionally I was an editor. I started as an editor at CBS and Black 20 and IGN and all that stuff. So that's a good feeling. But then down here, there's a Best Documentary Feature, VHS Massacre 2. We won Best Documentary Feature, and then my buddy Tim Kulig gets a I think it's a Best Music. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, Best Music. Anyway, so this was a pretty big deal for me. Again, no one asked for this documentary. I just felt compelled to make it based upon what was happening to independent exploitation films and how they were being financially strangled by media consolidation. So my hope is that more and more people will get it. I'm happy so far. I mean, we just started, and we already had a screening in New York, and we already have 2 wins, and it's just excellent. So so I guess that's basically all I wanted to say about that. It's just in regard to marketing, maybe you're a filmmaker, but maybe you're shy. Maybe you're a little shy about live events and stuff like that, and I am like that too. But sometimes it can be really beneficial to just get out there and try to put on an event and see who shows up, because you never know. So, okay, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.